Good evening. It's 6:30. I'm going to go ahead and call the public hearing for the Planning Commission for March 24th, 2025 to order. It's concerning a development at 770 Moon Road, R1 to a PUD. Nick Hester, do you have anything you want to say before we open the floor?
I don't think so.
Okay.
You want me to go and just give the details?
I'd appreciate it.
Okay. So yeah, we're just wanting to take, it's not going to change anything as far as how we want to build. It's going to be single family residential. We just want to change the zoning so that we can give more acreage per household. And so that would give us the flexibility to kind of, because if you're going to give more land on less homes, obviously it's difficult, you know, as a subdivider. So what we want to do is make that more flexible so that we can give larger lots and still be profitable for everybody. So.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I'll open the floor if anyone would like to speak on this issue, for or against, or any concerns. Please.
Cartwright, I've got a question about the drainage situation on that property, because my property backs right up to the bottom of it.
Okay.
And there's a ditch back there 6 feet wide, and right now it floods when a heavy rain comes. If they go building houses up in there, it's gonna really flood. It gets within 30 feet of getting my basement now, but if you increase that water runoff 4 or 5 times, it's gonna get in my basement.
Okay.
And the water now runs down where Moon Road and Sweetwater intersect, and it goes under now. So if you increase that water flow, it's really gonna go under. The culverts down there can't handle the water flow that's coming through them when heavy rain hits right now.
Okay.
So I just wanna know what kind of situation they're gonna do to correct that drainage.
Well, I do know that this is before they've even entered a plot plan or anything for us, but any kind of development plan that they submit will have to include a stormwater drainage plan and an erosion and sediment control plan, which will help to make sure that none of the construction will go off-site. Will make drainage go off-site. It's supposed to help with that.
Well, I don't know how they can stop it. It's downhill to that ditch. It can't go anywhere but downhill, so.
They might be required to put a retention pond or something like that in there. We would just have to wait and see how their engineering and topography shows up on it. But we will keep that in mind. Thank you, sir.
Just, sir, can I ask him a question?
Sure.
Sir, how much rainfall has to acquire before it starts flooding? Since you've been there that long, you could tell me that.
I couldn't give specific in inches.
Yeah.
I know that this last one that was not yesterday, but 2 or 3 weeks ago, the ditch filled up to the top of the ditch. It didn't overrun it. So when you get a
Okay.
1.5, 2 inch rain, it'll come up out of that ditch, and in my yard it'll be that deep. And that deep towards my basement ends up 30 feet stopping from my basement. So if it gets any more than that, the main problem is that ditch comes straight. I straightened it out when I moved out there. It used to meander through my property, and I cut a straight line so it'd have a straight shot. When it gets to the lot next door to me now, it meanders again and comes 3/4 of the way back up into that lot, makes a horseshoe and swings back, and then continues on towards Moon Road. Now the contractor that's selling that land next to me, he's got a guy out there cleaning it, and he says that he's gonna cut that ditch in a straight line across the back of that property and fill in that ditch like I did on my property. But all that's gonna increase the water flow. But I don't know if those culverts down there, they plug right now. I mean, they might have to take the culverts out and put a bridge in there or something that can't plug. The culverts are only this big around, and that kind of water just won't go through. And they plug up with limbs and leaves and debris right now.
Thank you, sir.
Is there anyone else who'd like to speak?
Yeah, I want to bring up just the fact that this ditch that you guys are on Sweetwater, correct? So the ditch that he's talking about, it actually comes off of, what is that? Off Peyton, you have the horse farm directly behind me, and that that actually comes off their property and just cuts slightly through the corner of where we're talking about. The drainage on my property, it actually comes to the center, to the pond, and it overflows, and it actually, I'd say it's, well, those lots that we sold on the frontage of Moon Road, it comes about a quarter mile down the road and goes through a larger ditch. That drainage ditch that he's talking about actually cuts across the corner of the back of my property, but it's coming from another property. So that actually wouldn't have anything to do with how
Yeah,
we.
but that's all sloping, and if you build houses out there, that water can't be absorbed,
Well,
it's
but
gonna run.
I understand. Well,
in the ditch.
right. Well, the drainage that comes off my property, it actually comes further down Moon Road. It doesn't go to Sweetwater. So I just wanted to make sure that was
Okay.
clear.
All right. Like I said, we will keep that in mind when we see the development plans, okay? Thank you for your input. Bruce, can you come up?
Yeah, I don't know exactly what they're talking about, but I got a general idea. But if you would just get with me, give me your address, show me everywhere you're talking about, and we can look into it and make sure that anything that they do does not affect any of that. And if there's something we can do to help a current issue, we'll look into that as well. So. Yeah.
All right, thank you. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak? Okay, if there's no one else, I'll go ahead and close the public hearing. It is now 6:36. We will start the regular hearing. And if Mr. Brooke, will you say the prayer so we can open our meeting?
Father, we thank you so much for your love and kindness. We thank you, Lord, for each and every one's able to be here this night. We ask your blessings upon this meeting, Lord, that everything be done according to your will. And Lord, we ask your blessings upon those that are here that have special needs, Lord. And we ask all these things in Jesus' holy name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Brittany, will you do the roll call, please?
Yes.
Hewitt?
Here.
Here.
Tara Chandler, Aaron Nixon,
Here.
and Alex is absent. Okay.
Okay, I will be a voting member tonight so that we can have a quorum. So let's go ahead and move into approval of the prior meeting minutes. Are there any notes or concerns from the board? If there are none, I'll go ahead and entertain a motion to pass as written.
Make
Pat?
a motion, we pass.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Let's see. Next, we have old business. There is no old business, so we'll move on to new business. I'm going to go ahead and make a couple of changes to the order of the new business. We're going to have the Morrison Street Estates final plat from Lemons Engineering first. Mr. Lemons, would you like to come up here? Sorry.
I appreciate you, y'all hearing me out on this issue. This is a very simple, small tract of land located on Morrison Street. Mr. B.J. Weathers has purchased it, and he's wanting to build 2 houses on it. And so the plat is basically we're taking and splitting it down the middle. The lots do meet the city's minimum standards, and be glad to answer any questions you may have.
Sir, does the road going to be the 27-foot, or is it going to be smaller?
We had not planned on doing any Half Street improvements. It was not brought up in staff that we needed to. So whatever's out there, that's what we're planning on running with. Now, we are putting in sidewalks.
Sorry, brief moment. Thank you, Gary. Okay. And there's no changes from when we approved the preliminary plat?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And I don't believe there's any concerns from staff on this? No? So if it is okay with the board as presented, I'll go ahead and entertain a motion to pass the final plat.
So be it.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
I think that took less than 90 seconds. That's a record. I appreciate it.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
Have a good night. Okay, next we're going to move on back to the rezone for 770 Moon Road that we had the public hearing on, the request from R1 to PUD. Nick Hester, any concerns or comments from the board on this?
Maybe this is the one I'm thinking about. Is the street 2-foot width smaller than,
I'm not sure. We're going to do the preliminary plat after we approve the rezone. So right now, we're just voting on the rezone.
excuse me, ma'am.
Sorry, but is there any concerns about the rezone, or would anyone like to make a motion to go ahead and approve the rezone as presented?
And the reason he's doing it's for more acreage. How much more acreage are you looking at? Mr. Hester, how much more acreage are you looking at for each spot?
I guess I don't follow the question. So that's a total of 33 acres. So what we're looking to do is, for the plat, the preliminary that we have, that's a 10 acre. And on the other 23 acres, 23 and some change, we haven't really determined what we're gonna do as far as lot sizes. We'd like to go larger, like 2 to 3 acre, but we may go as small as 1. That's hasn't been determined yet, but it's a total of 33 acres.
But each of these lots on this first plat is over an acre.
They're all
Right.
an acre, yes, yes.
And that's why they need the PUD, is to be able to have that and then also work with the city on the type of road.
I make a motion.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Mr. Brook?
I had a question.
Okay.
I listened to what you had to say there, and I was very curious that you haven't made any final decisions as to what you really want to do with that property.
No, we do have final decision. It's all single-family residential. It's just we have phase 1, we have made a decision, and you guys have a preliminary plat. It's just the second phase, the other 23 acres. We haven't determined yet what size the lots will be. They're all large acreage, single-family lots. That decision has been made.
So what I'm hearing is you're going to be back again?
Yes.
Sure.
Probably on several occasions, the way it sounded. I'm just sharing with you.
Sure.
Yeah, okay, I just wanted to clarify that, but
Oh, yes, sir.
thank you.
Okay, so we have everyone's vote but yours on the rezone. You're good, okay. Okay, so the rezone is approved, and now we'll move on to the preliminary plat, which is what is on the TV. Questions about the street?
Yes, ma'am. I think the street is a couple of feet, not as wide as what we've had in the past. I don't like that.
Okay.
Being that it's rezoned as a PUD, and, kind of the whole PUD thing is, more open space. Within our regs, though, it gives us leeway when it comes to the design of the streets and the drainage. So, it will not be curb and gutter. And within our code and the fire code, it allows the street actual paved width to go down to 20 feet with X amount of shoulder, and then X amount of open drainage, and then 10 feet outside that, which would all fall within the actual 50-foot right-of-way.
And the fire chief doesn't have an issue with that?
He does not.
Okay.
It's still going to be wider than the road that it connects to, which is Moon Road, which is not even 20 foot of paved width.
Just because we have roads that are not in that what we're trying to keep to, it doesn't mean we should reduce what we have, or going to have.
Right. But that is the regulations as far as PUD.
As far as PUD goes, we can go to 20-foot minimum
That's
road
the,
width.
okay.
Yep.
You
Paved
can
width.
go to it.
Would you like to ask the developer if he would want to make it bigger?
Well, part of the reason for it too is because of this existing space that you see here.
Between the houses to go
Yeah.
back there? Okay.
In order to maintain this 50-foot right-of-way, it basically has to go down to 20 foot, or we will not have 50 foot of right-of-way. Because essentially, there's only 50 foot right here, total space. Yep, so 20 foot of paved width, and 2 foot of shoulder, 3 foot of ditch or swell, each side 10 foot. Outside of that, gets you to your 50 foot right away with. Yeah.
So you,
And to make you feel any better, I mean, just one of the reasons for going to a planned urban development is to give you more flexibility. And this would be one of those cases where we can waive the curb and gutter, have open ditches, larger lots, which might include a smaller street, but it's similar to what we did at Legacy Farms at the end of Ballard. That's a PUD as well. And they're smaller streets, $500,000 homes. These will be comparable to that, not connected one to the other like Legacy Farms, but they'll be high dollar in homes. And so the street just gives them more flexibility. And to the gentleman's point about the water runoff, the more hard surface you have, the more runoff you're going to have. The larger lots would allow more to soak. So it's it's something to consider anyway. But that's one of the reasons for going. That's one of the draws for planned urban development is more flexibility, larger lots. So get away from 7,500 square foot lots, which is what we typically see, more or less.
Is this going to, with the UDO, is this going to interface with that?
nope.
That ain't good.
Okay, if there aren't any other questions or concerns, I will entertain a motion to approve.
I have one more question.
Go ahead.
Do all of our heads, do they all agree that that they're going to meet, or the preliminary is going to be good? All the requirements?
Staff for approval?
Yeah.
Yes, staff has approved this. In the notes that I received, it said that staff was satisfied with the preliminary plat as presented.
I would say we make a motion, at least we can get the preliminary in and look at it and go from there.
Have a second? Or any other comments?
What if we don't do anything to it? That'll bring the preliminary back in, won't they?
What do you mean?
Well, we're not getting any comments from us about a second.
Oh, well, we'd have to either approve or deny. The second would be a way for us to either approve or deny
Okay, I'll
it.
second it.
Okay. Brittany, will you do a roll call, please?
Yes. Include you, correct?
Mhm.
Okay. Helen Hewitt,
Yes.
Art Brooke,
Yes.
Butch Price,
No,
Aaron Mixon,
Yes.
cool.
It passes 3-1. Okay, next we have Copper Moon Phase 2 final plat. Nick Hester?
So all this is just as we've originally been approved for the entire neighborhood. We just broke it into sections. This is the next 12 homes, which we just want to get final approval on that to get started.
Okay, can you put it on the screen? Do we have anything for the screen?
So your first 6 here, those are, well, 5 of those 6 are already complete, and we are completing the utilities and the road system on that next phase.
Okay, and the preliminary's already been approved?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Any staff comment?
Yeah, I think on this one, the streets are not finished and, they'll have to be completed before you can actually get a final. And that was Mayor's comment there.
Okay. So before it goes before council next month, it'll need to be completed, or before we vote to approve the final plat, it needs to be completed?
Before the council meeting.
Okay.
So it would be contingent on the
Okay.
streets being finished.
Okay. And was there anything about fire hydrants or anything like that?
No, all that's covered.
Okay.
The only other thing was, fire chief, requested a temporary turnaround, which, that's something that they agreed to do
Okay.
for the fire chief. Yep. No, it's gonna be a cul-de-sac, but they're gonna put a temporary turnaround, for the time being, until that's finished. So there's,
Okay. All right, so I will entertain a motion if there are no questions for approval of the Copper Moon Phase 2 final plat contingent on the street being finished before the council meeting and the temporary turnaround being installed.
Can you refresh my memory? Who makes sure the contingency's completed?
Staff lets me know before I present it to council.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I make a motion.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Okay, that passes. Next, we have a variance request, 11 Libra Lane, Steve Hester. I don't know. Where is Libra Lane?
It is off Moon Road.
Okay, is
It's
it a private road?
No,
Is
it's the
it-
subdivision we're talking about.
Okay.
Phase
Okay, that's why I
one.
couldn't
It's
find it on
phase
Google
one.
Maps. Okay, got it. Yeah, okay. And this house has already been built?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
And the variance is strictly because the framer, when he laid it out, made a mistake, and
it's a little crooked?
it's a little crooked. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
And staff is okay with this, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. So this is just to approve a variance for them to encroach in the 15-foot easement because the house is already built and it was built crooked by accident.
How much encroachment is it?
I'm not sure.
It says 13.54 on the,
Oh, so it's a foot and some.
Over 12 feet. I believe it was 11 or 12 feet. They've actually applied for a fence permit, and we're holding up on that till we find out for sure that the variance is allowed.
Okay.
But they're going to square the fence up with the back corner of the house, as I understand it, to make it look less crooked from the road.
okay.
You can kind of see it on the aerial a little bit.
So there won't be any side fence, it'll go directly from that back corner, is what you're saying, when they get the fence?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
And we'll probably process, depending on your action, we'll process the fence permit tomorrow.
Okay.
We're just waiting to make sure the variance is okay.
so once the
And-
variance is approved, the fence doesn't need a variance as well?
No, it
Okay,
will not.
good.
Once you okay the line, then they'll fence that line, so.
Okay, good.
And then, just so you will know, of course, the staff, we talked about the fact that there are no reasonable options because the house is already complete. And they have showed their due diligence by, they're not when we're using that framer, so it shouldn't be an issue in the future, rather.
All right, thank you, Gary. Any other questions or concerns from the board?
I make a motion.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, variance is approved. All right, next we have a variance request for a portable carport at 384 Peyton Street. Joe Taylor, he will not be able to attend, but Gary will speak for Mr. Taylor.
So Mr. Taylor reached out to Brittany's office, Brittany in her office, and asked for a variance to put a portable carport in front of his house, which would put him across the building line. There's about 40 feet between his house and the structure, or the highway rather. The structure is going to be 18 by 20, so it's going to be about 20 feet. Basically, the back of his car. Take my truck. I just had nowhere else to park, so I'm up in his driveway taking these pictures. But the driveway would be in front of the end of his house there, in front of the driveway, and it would cover his car. He is extremely mobility impaired. He uses a power chair to get back and forth to his vehicle, stuff like that. That's why he's not here tonight. So, you know, darting out there in the weather and stuff to get in, it's not feasible. Looking at the house to the left of that house is another house that they had, the code enforcement officer and I had stopped, made contact with them because they had a portable type carport in front of their house. And we told them they couldn't do that without a variance from the planning commission. So we gave them the two options, is get a variance from the planning commission, or they actually had land to the side of their house enough that they could move the carport. In fact, that's what they did, with the intentions of possibly coming back and adding a second carport to the side of that. So they were given the option of going in front of the house, but they opted not to because they had options. He has no option. You can
Yeah,
see.
there's a tree there and then a utility pole,
Yeah,
right?
you can see
Yeah.
where he's at. In fact, that's his power chair right in front of the fence. There is not enough room for a carport or a side drive or anything like that.
He has a true hardship.
It is
this
a
to be
hardship, and the staff recommends that we do a conditional hardship variance,
Okay.
meaning that if and when he ever moves from that residence, that the variance would no longer be enforced, that whoever bought it would have to take the carport down. He's also been in contact with the highway department. I'm not sure who he talked to, and I have not verified that, but I have no reason to doubt him. Is that the highway department has no current plans to expand. That was one thing I talked to him about, is the right-of-way, the highway right-of-way.
Right.
If they ever come through there and make that 3-lane or even 5-lane, that's why they have the right-of-way. He's reached out to their engineering department. They've assured him there's no current plans, and we don't know of any current plans that they have to do that. So,
Okay.
like I said, I have no reason to doubt him. But he knows that if they come and take in more of their right-of-way, that his variance would be conditional on that as well.
Okay. All right, thank you, Gary.
Yes, ma'am.
I make a motion that we accept with conditions.
I second.
All right. All those in favor? Aye. Okay. Passes. Okay. And our last agenda item has been tabled until April, so we will not be having that on. Let's see, so I'll just go ahead and go into announcements. April 15th, the council meeting will be at 6:30, and that will be in the dining hall in City Hall, correct?
Yes.
Okay, due to construction in here. The 18th will be the ward extravaganza from 1 to 3. April 28th will be our next planning commission meeting at 6:30. That will also be in the dining hall cafeteria?
Yeah.
Okay, cafeteria. And then May 3rd, spring cleanup from 8 to 3. And May 10th will be our annual fishing derby. Does anybody from the board have anything to say or add?
I have a question on the, I read it in the newspaper, I haven't really followed up on, the reason I'm asking. But the parking ordinance, did they pass the new parking ordinance for the city?
I don't know.
I'm thinking.
Was there a parking ordinance approved at the last week's
Yes,
meeting?
yes.
Okay, yes.
Yes,
So 30 days from then is when it'll take in effect, right?
yes.
Okay. Yes, it did pass, Mr. Burke.
Okay.
Okay. If there's nothing else, I'll go ahead
I
and,
have one more
yeah.
announcement. It's come in too late to get on the announcements, but Friday morning at 8 o'clock, there is a ribbon cutting at the Dollar General Market on Highway 38.
Okay.
So Donuts Coffee and the tour of the building will be there. They'll be open. They may do a soft opening Thursday. They'll definitely open as soon as we get done cutting the ribbon at 8 o'clock Friday morning. So they'll be in business.
Okay, great. Great news for Ward. All right, I'll go ahead and close the meeting. It is, yes.
Can we ask a question though?
Yeah.
The this gentleman needs some guidance.
Okay.
He needs to be asking y'all for.
Okay, so I own property at
Identify
20.
yourself.
Do what?
Tell
Yep.
me who you are.
Yes,
Jason
sir.
Eagle.
Okay.
2291 Peyton Street.
Mm-hmm.
Lived there for 10 years. I've recently relocated to another place in Ward. So that property, I want to keep it. But plans would be to make it so we're getting a new vet school in Cabot, and then Jonesboro's getting a vet school. So use it as a clinical site for on-farm training for those students. So would that need to go commercial?
Yes, it would need to be rezoned.
Okay,
And you can talk to staff about what all would go into
okay,
getting that switched over. But yeah, you can't have it in you can't have a school
Right.
or a clinic in a residential zone. So
Right.
if it's zoned residential right now instead of agriculture or whatever it could be out there,
so it'd go commercial, not agriculture.
that's the question.
Yeah.
Gary?
Is it like a clinic?
Our PUD has an agriculture.
Teaching site.
Our current zoning ordinance has, I believe it's C1, it may be C2, that allows agriculture.
Okay.
So, but PUD has an agriculture, but that's kind of on hold because they've upended us at the state legislature.
Right.
Which one, agriculture?
Everything.
Our whole PUD.
Yeah.
That PUD we've been working 2.5 years on, 3/4 of it.
Yeah, our UDO is in limbo. Yeah.
UDO we've been working on for 2.5 years. If all these bills pass at the state, then those are out the window. There's the municipal league, fire chiefs association, state association, they're all opposing those changes. So we'll
Right.
have to see how it plays out. Either way, we have a zone that allows agriculture.
Okay.
Currently, it would be a commercial zone that allows agriculture. If we find out that we can continue on with the UDO, then it has an agriculture zone to it. So either way, I wouldn't say that you couldn't do it, but it would involve this body.
Okay.
And we would have to have a
Yeah.
public hearing and hear from
Right.
the
There would be no
neighbors.
building changes, no fencing's all there. I
Right.
still have animals over there. So
Okay,
it's-
yeah.
It's no changes to the eye, to the public. It would just be a way for students to learn.
Gary,
Understand.
is there anything about education for zoning in the commercial area?
Actually, I want to confirm the mayor, so let me appreciate it. Use part of this property for the vet clinic school that's going to be going to Cabot.
Right.
So we're debating the UDO agriculture, if and when that gets to happen, versus the commercial zone that allows agriculture. He just wanted to know kind of how to proceed with his plans to develop, to rezone his property to allow for that vet school.
She was asking about education.
Yeah, what's the zoning on that? What's the zone now?
It's R1 now.
okay.
It's on Peyton Street.
Yeah.
In the C1 that allows agriculture.
2291, that's way down there.
It's right beside Beyond Boundaries.
Looks like C1 for right now, education facility.
So go with the education rather than the agriculture. He's wanting to let them, he's wanting a place where they can do their clinicals, Mayor, like their veterinarian clinicals.
Right.
So it could be educational, could,
I know in anything that's considered clinical teaching, it's an educational setting.
so.
Right. Current would be C1, okay. So do we have a decision? Do we have a decision?
It was just a question at the end of the meeting.
C1, we have
C1?
to rezone to C1 because the current zoning, we haven't got the UDO and not sure if that's gonna
Right.
go.
But what if it is zoned agriculture out there?
Then you could do that,
Then he could do it without rezoning?
right.
Yeah, we just need to know what your property is zoned, since it's way out
Well,
there.
it's zone R1 right now.
Is it? Because it's next to Beyond, what's it called?
Beyond Boundaries.
Boundaries,
But it is
yeah.
R1,
That's probably a special use, I doubt that got rezoned, so
yeah, that was,
that's a special use.
Oh, okay.
or non-conforming,
Yeah,
non-conforming building.
so how much land do you have? 10 acres. Yeah, so, I mean, there's already agriculture in the area
Right.
with livestock, and I would.
When we rezone for the UDO, we can just zone it to
Right.
agriculture, but depending on the timing, if you want to do this soon, then you may want to rezone as a C1. If you want to wait and see what the legislators are going to do with
zoning, this may be a moot point.
Yeah.
Totally. If they change and just do away with all zoning,
It's a free-for-all.
it will be, yes, that's a good word. And I'll just leave it at that.
All right, we're going to close the meeting now at 7:05. Thank you.